Welcome back to another episode of Unpacking Life with the Box and the Basket. Ricky and Vanessa. Most recently, we're coming back to my old stomping grounds, and it's like had me reminiscing of the old days. And I grew up in not the best part of Phoenix, in South Phoenix, and I guess it had me wanting to talk about people's mindset, what holds people back, and how people become successful coming from the slums.
Oh my God.
So it's not really the slums. It's not that bad.
No. But just in general, like how your environment, it can either hold you back or like push you
Launch
further
you
in
forward.
life. So that's what we're going to talk about today.
Yeah. So I kind of grew up all over. I was born in Oxnard, California. And then we lived like my younger years in Southern California, in San Diego, Escondido specifically. And once I was about 13, 14, my mom kicked me out to the street. And I floated over to Arizona to live with my dad. And I kind of grew up alone. I didn't really have like too much structure or like a parent there to kind of guide me through life. And so I had a lot of different role models coming up. And ever since I was little, though, I kind of knew like, I don't want to live this life. Like, I don't want to be out on the street. I don't want to be an alcoholic. I don't want to be unsuccessful. Like, I always wanted to have nice things, have a beautiful wife, a family, be there for them. And that was kind of my driving force coming up. So a lot of the people that I grew up with either ended up in jail, dead, or they also got out of, our situation. But I think a lot of it has to do with like mindset and your drive and what you're wanting to do and what your end goal is.
Well, I think it depends on your mindset can only take you so far if you're like easily influenced by people, because if your mindset is like, I want to get out of this, but then you're surrounded by people that are like negative or holding you back or like don't want better or like, I don't know, so much going on that then your mindset can only go so far. For you, I think it worked because you're a lone wolf. So like you're always around people and everybody knows you, but you're not close to anyone. And I don't think I've ever cared about people's opinions. So then your mindset alone, I think, drove you out of your situation and made you successful. But I think for someone that maybe cares about what others think and is more influenced by them, then maybe your mindset like is not gonna help you as much. It might be like, I think it could help you to get motivated to get out of certain situations. But I think the biggest thing is, depending on where you fall, even for you, like you're a lone wolf and you don't care about other people's opinions and blah, blah, who you were around did help you. I think like a big changing point for you was, who told you to go to the military? Was it Moses?
No. Well, he kind of planted the idea and I was kind of like playing with it. And then my buddy Eddie, his brother, he's the one that was like, just go, dude. He was in the Air Force. And he's like, just go, man. Like, you're going to be back in X amount of years and all your buddies are still going to be doing the same stuff. And they were. And if not, doing worse. Yeah. So. Yeah,
and not saying like, you go to the military and now all of a sudden like your whole life is just amazing and stuff. Like, that's a struggle in and of itself. But when you're in bad situations, I feel like there's limited amount of resources and opportunities for you to get out of a bad situation. Like, and I mean, I just know that from watching other people. Like my dad, that's how he was. He grew up in East St. Louis and like very, very, very bad part of town. Like the
Mm-hmm.
cops wouldn't even go there. That's how bad it was. And the only way he got out of there is because he joined the military.
Yeah.
And we didn't grow up like that at all. Like we grew up in the suburbs of Germany, and like we had plenty of opportunities and everything. So
Right.
it's like a totally different environment. But, you know, there's people that I know that grew up in that environment and they maybe didn't do so good. And I think then maybe, you know, other things come into play.
Oh,
But
yeah.
like negative people in general, like being around it, you should just really like distance yourself. I had a friend once an ex-friend that swore up and down that she was like the coolest,
Super chill.
super chill friend to be around, and that she doesn't really like hanging out with girls. I mean, it was a girl friend of mine. And because they're all so catty and dramatic, and she has more guy friends, which that should have been like my first red flag. I feel like whenever I meet someone that says like I'm mostly friends with guys, it's like red flag. And she ended up being so negative and time sucking, and like whenever I would be with her, like I felt drained after like an hour, and I just wanted to like go home and take a nap because they just tell you about everything is horrible, right? And we like our kids are healthy, we have a roof over our head, we have cars to drive, like we live a good life, and just every day it would be like something that she would complain about, or like some family drama that she was going through, and it was just draining. And I'm like
if
you're
negative
not...
stuff happens to you all the time, no matter where you go,
Yeah.
I think you're the problem.
Well, then that's your mindset, right?
Yeah.
Like you just want to see the bad in everything.
Like you want to be the victim of...
There's a silver lining and like something positive in almost everything. Like, and I mean, I complain plenty, but like, it's just a German thing.
Facts.
But I know, like, I'll even tell myself, or I'll say it out loud. I'm like, I'm just like complaining and being dramatic. But I know at the end of the day,
being dramatic, German,
no,
dramatic,
it's not gonna stick. That I know at the end of the day, you have to. Like every no is a yes to something else.
Yeah.
Like somebody tells you no to something, you don't get a certain job, like a better opportunity is coming for you.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that's where mindset comes in. Like if you have that mindset that like you don't have it so bad, it could always be worse.
Yeah.
And every no is really a yes to something else. And every failure is an opportunity
to learn
and do better than, and you know, really an opportunity for growth. That's really where, like, I think people could skyrocket because it's so easy to make excuses, be negative, and, like, fall into this spiral of, like, feeling bad for yourself that you could limit yourself a ton.
Yeah. That's kind of what we're trying to teach the kids, too.
Yeah.
Like Aubrey, she's, you know, in a competition fighting class. And what did she tell you that one time? Oh, well, so I was watching her spar this girl, and she got kicked right in the vagina, like hard, and she didn't even
think you could say that. She got kicked in the privates.
Sure.
Yes.
You know where she got kicked. Anyways, she didn't even flinch. Like she just kept fighting this girl for like another 4 or 5 minutes, and then after they take a water break, and she just like grabs her water bottle, like comes and buries her head in my chest and starts crying. She's like, she kicked me right in the vagina and it hurt so bad. I was like, I felt so bad. And I was like, you're all right, man. Just, keep going. And so she went to the bathroom, like washed her face, and she was good. And she went right back out there. And Vanessa told her later that, she can quit.
Well, I asked her, I was like, do you want to keep doing it? Like, because they're in martial arts for like discipline and self-defense, right? But then
trying to get that good mentality.
Yeah. So they started the sparring class and she wanted to do it. And so we let her try it. But I'm not going to force her to do it. Like, I don't need her to be a fighter. Like, that's not our end goal. But whatever.
I do.
Stop. Like, she's a girl. Like, that's, if you don't want to do it, certain things you can quit. You don't have to do, like, she's going to go to the Taekwondo classes, but she doesn't have to do the sparring class, the competition class. So I was like, you can quit if you want. And she said, I was like, oh, and if it hurts, like, you can cry. It's fine. She's
Yeah.
like, no, I don't want to cry because I don't want people to feel sorry for me. I want
Right.
people to be proud of
Proud.
me because I'm brave. And I'm like, oh my God, she's braver than me.
I
But that
love it.
is like a combination of really her environment because
Yeah.
she got that from TJ
Yeah.
and probably from you, like a
Mm-hmm.
combination of the two. So, if she had maybe an instructor that was like babying her more, or
Right.
she was constantly just around me and I'm babying her, then maybe she would quit. And
Yeah.
I mean, we're not forcing her still. Like, we give her the out and whatever, but I don't know, just allowing her to grow in her own way.
I think it's just trying to build that like mentality of finding a way, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
just because it's hard, you're not going to quit.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's difficult, then find a different way to make it easy, or find a different way to get to the end goal.
Yeah.
And I think that's what a lot of people lack. They just get into this victim mentality where they're like, oh man, I got rejected. I'm like, oh, well, I guess I can't do that
Mm-hmm.
anymore.
They stop.
Yeah. Instead of like, you know what? I didn't get, selected for this job. So now I'm going to go get this extra training, or now I'm going to study more in this area. So I'm, have a stronger skill set for this job. And then next time they won't tell me no.
Yeah.
So,
But also, like, going back to Aubrey being in the class, you have to think about, I don't know, how many kids are in the class? 10 or 15?
mm-hmm.
There are about 100 students, over 100 students at the school.
Right.
And so only a few kids signed up for the sparring classes. Yeah. So already alone, the environment of her being in the class with
mm-hmm.
other kids that are trying to get better
with
and that are not
mindset.
Giving up and that are getting hurt, but they're pushing through the pain.
Right.
That is like a perfect example. Like, your environment also, it's like pushing her like, well, I see other people doing it. Not everybody's crying, laying on the floor and quitting and walking out. So like, it also like then pushes you.
I can do it too.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, that was me with jiu-jitsu. Betty is like one of the women that came. I don't even know how old she is, but she has great grandkids.
Yeah.
And, she has I have hip issues, but she has hip issues and shoulder issues and all that.
She was still grinding.
And she's letting me slam her on the floor.
What
Why
was her
can't
nickname?
I? Betty, always ready,
always
Betty.
Ready, Betty.
Like, she's doing it. Yeah. I can do it too. So,
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What else motivates you?
Motivates me?
Yeah. To be successful.
As far as environment?
Anything. Maybe
I feel like I have motivation I don't need, right? Like, we have goals and plans, mm-hmm. and that's it. But our environment, I think once you have that figured out, within yourself and your family, then after that you need to control your environment.
Yeah.
And another thing is you are the sum of the people that you're around, right? Mm-hmm. Usually the top 5 people. So look around. Who are the 5 people that you're around? Are they people that are constantly quitting their jobs, constantly negative, whatever? Then you probably need to reevaluate your friendships.
Right.
Because are they holding you down or not? My dad always says, I've said this before, but it's like crabs in a bucket. Yeah. A crab tries to get out, the other crabs will pull them back down.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's okay, for your group of friends to be just you. Right. Rely on yourself and then just make an effort to be around people that have similar goals or values or things that, you want to be around and inspire you and push you further, and not the other way around. Mm-hmm. I think it's very important.
Yeah. Well, when you first started in real estate, it was brand new, mm-hmm. right? You didn't know much, mm-hmm. other than you were going to school. What kept you going?
Honestly, that whenever I'd be this is not going to work, I need to find a job, you would be it's fine, just keep doing it. And I believed in you. So then if you were you can keep doing it, I was okay, I can. He says I can. So, and growing up, my dad always said, there's no such thing as I can't.
No.
You can do anything that you set your mind to.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you would calm me back down. Now, if I had an unsupportive husband that was yeah, you know what? You kind of suck and you're not good at it and maybe you should find something else, I
Like,
would listen to that. I
we've
would
had
have.
friends like that too,
Yeah.
where they started a new business venture,
Mm-hmm.
and after a couple months or so, they weren't making money, and the husband would kind of trash talk the wife.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, it's not going that great, or they should probably consider doing something else or finding a different job.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I'm sure it's like, especially coming from your spouse, like that's the one person that you should be able to trust and have the most faith in to
Mm-hmm.
support you and push you towards your goals.
Yeah.
And to have them just kind of not believe in you, then I could see how that would be a driving force to stop or quit.
Yeah. Well, but again, that's also a catch-22. I mean, your spouse for sure, but what are you going to do? Divorce them because
Yeah.
they didn't support you? I don't know. Takes like, I guess, some therapy.
Yeah.
Maybe. But like supportive friends, right? Not everybody's going to be supportive.
Oh, yeah.
And friends are like sometimes the worst.
Mm-hmm.
Our friends, no, because I think we've come down, like, we've cut out a bunch of people. Like, I'm not afraid. And that's also like, it was in my environment. It was how I was brought up. My parents were always like, at the end of the day, all you need is your family.
Mm-hmm.
So like for us, it was my mom, my dad, and us 4 kids. They weren't even talking about my grandparents, aunts, uncles, cousins, none of that.
No.
Just the people that were in the same house together.
Family.
So we've, I think, dialed it. I'm not afraid to like lose friends or not have people in my life, and it doesn't mean I don't like you or I wish you not the best, whatever. Like I wish you the best, but over there somewhere, like not like
not around
me, and that's okay. Like you don't have to stay friends with everybody.
Yeah.
But some friends, like they are not going to support you, or they will support you like when you're down, but then when you're doing well, you don't hear from them.
Yeah. Well, there's that saying that a friend is less likely, or a client is more likely to become a friend than a friend is likely to become a client.
Yeah.
And it's true.
Yeah.
But like you said, I mean, we have really good friends, and we've gone through a bunch of different friends, and we've kind of trimmed the fat, and we got our sirloin steak now.
Yeah.
Wagyu beef.
But they're all also like in similar situations. Like they have kids, they're growing a family or building a family and run businesses, or one person works, the other person is like running a business, and they're, not just stagnant in life and just trying to do better. And I think finding a group of friends that genuinely like invested in you and your happiness and like want to lift each other up, that's like the best kind of friendship to have.
Yeah.
And I truly believe if you don't have friends like that, you should keep trying to find better friends.
I feel like we try to be there for our friends as well.
Yeah.
And we have some friends that have, small businesses, and that's why we go to like True, for example, and Stay for Jiu-Jitsu and stuff to try to support them, because they're really good friends of ours and we hang out with them all the time.
Yeah.
And but yeah, we always try to reciprocate what we are trying to get from other friends. So, but yeah, like you said, I mean, we have tons of stories of different friends that wasted, months or years of our time.
And it says as you get older, your circle of friends turns into a dot. Yeah. Because, before you have like everybody's your friend and blah, blah. And then as you get older, you get wiser. You know that people burn you, that people are around for the wrong reasons. And then it just slowly grows until you have a dot of friends.
It grows or dwindles?
Dwindles. Slowly shrinks into a dot of friends. And honestly, I really just don't even have the energy to go to that many things.
Even coming here, I was like, man, there's like so many people I have to like call and text, and I'm like just dreading it. And not that I don't like them or like don't want to hang out, but I'm like, there's just too many people to try to please on such a short trip,
I know. I'll have to come out more.
Yeah. But it's always okay to leave friends behind if they're not on the same path that you are. You can always be cordial with friends, and
that's a big thing. Like you can't have a losing mentality and expect
to win.
Yeah. It's like you have to. It's the whole, which I hate. I hate so bad. Where like People are like, I manifested this. You did not manifest anything. Like, you just set your mind to it, and like you started doing things that got you closer to your goal. It's not like you were like, God, tomorrow I want to have $1 million, and then you had $1 million. That's not how it works. But you just have to train yourself, and sometimes that involves like going to therapy. I feel like, because if you have a certain type of upbringing, or like you don't believe in yourself, or like you self-sabotage, there's so many things that that holds people back. Sometimes it's okay to spend $150 to talk to a counselor a couple times, and or a therapist, and say like, this is what I'm going through. This is, I get to this. I know plenty of people that are like so good at something, but they cannot get ahead because they stop themselves.
Right.
Like, they see an opportunity open up, and then instead of taking it, they talk themselves out of it.
Yeah.
Because like they think they don't deserve it, or like something
Sometimes
mentally that's
pull the trigger,
holding them back.
Yeah. In boot camp, right? That's probably most people that are in boot camp. That's probably their one most challenging thing in life that they've ever done. And you get a lot of young kids like straight out of high school, and everything's always been sheltered, and but they always tell you like, your mind is gonna hold you back a lot more than anything physical ever will. So like, we would be running for 10 miles, and as soon as you start doubting yourself, like, I'm not gonna make it, you're not gonna make it. But if you just put your mindset into the 10 miles, like, oh, it's only 10 miles, there's nothing. Like,
you know who does that?
Who?
Me.
You?
I do that all the time.
You quit before you even start?
Especially like with physical stuff.
Yeah.
Like in business, and like just in like just life stuff, not so much. But with physical stuff, always. Like the front, when we do blue to blue in jiu-jitsu, and you have to do the front roll where you like tuck your arm in. It's 100%. It has to be my mind.
Why?
Because you can't do it? Like,
yes. I don't do it. I don't do the rolls because I will throw up.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Even just if you do
so
one.
So dizzy, yeah.
So now you told me that, I'm gonna start telling myself.
Here we go.
I can do it, but I'll probably.
I think I'm gonna watch this now.
I
will literally, ever since we had COVID, like, remember I had that vertigo really bad, and like, even just laying down backwards sometimes, it'll like jack me up.
Really?
Yeah. So like,
it's probably your mindset, because you keep telling yourself that.
Whatever.
So just tell yourself one time that you're going to be okay, and then maybe you can do it.
I'll try it. You're cleaning up the throw up off the mats.
Okay.
All right.
You can make it to the trash can. No, but I like, and I catch myself too. I'm like, I was like, I can't do it. And then I don't do it. And everybody's just like, just roll. I'm like, ugh, I can't.
Yeah. My newest thing is like, I never had like any problems like claustrophobic. It was never any issues like being in tight spaces, or like being under a blanket or anything. And then when I went to the police academy, they do this stupid thing, and I understand why they do it, but you go into like this stairwell, and there's 3 floors, and you're like full gear, like riot gear. So you have like your helmet with the visor. So it's like obstructing like your breathing already, because you just feel your hot breath. And then you have like a vest on and your duty belt and stuff. And then they make you run 3 flights of stairs, like however many times they want to that time. And usually it's like 3 to 5 times. And so like they'll get your heart rate going. You start breathing heavy. And then you come down, right? And there's a door at the bottom of the stairs. And when they open the door, they put you into like a random situation. So sometimes it's like a dude pointing a gun at you, or somebody is like, they'll lay you down and somebody's like sitting on top, like on a mount, like just all kinds of different situations. But before they put you out, they put this stupid hood on you, like a potato sack over your head. Like
you're being kidnapped?
Yeah. And I like freaked out. Not physically, but like in my head, I'm like, I'm about to pass out. And I hated it. I've talked to other guys too.
You never told me this.
I never told anybody. Like,
everybody knows now.
Yeah. But I talked to other guys too, and they're like, I hated that. Like, that was the worst part of the whole academy. But like
the worst part, even being pepper sprayed and tased?
Yeah, that's easy stuff.
Really?
Oh yeah. Like it's just like mentally, it just like broke me down. I was just like, there's no way.
So they put the potato sack on you.
After you've ran
and
all
then they
these
take it off,
stairs,
and then the person's in front of you.
yeah, and then they walk you out into the room.
How
and like
long are you under the potato sack?
Like 10, 15 seconds, if that. But like it's so like you're breathing heavy. Like imagine how you're like, let's say you just ran a mile or whatnot, and you're like breathing heavy. Usually you would, put your hands on your knees or something, or put your hands on your head and just take a deep breath just to kind of like reset your breathing. You can't, because it's so freaking hot, and all your like hot air is just stuck in here, and oh, it's terrible. So like now that I started doing jiu-jitsu again, I would like fight for my life just to stay on top, because I was like, I'm breathing heavy. If this dude gets on top of me, I'm gonna pass out. And so with that though, like I understand it and I'm aware of it. So I've been trying to like get dudes in guard or like go on the bottom to make sure that, they're like on top of me, and just, I guess it's like being comfortable with being uncomfortable and just trying to like work that aspect of things. Cause yeah, there's no way. Like my first few weeks when I was there, I was like, I'm not being on the bottom. Like I'm just gonna stay on top. And I would like muscle dudes just to get them under me. Like there's no way.
I never knew this. This is excellent information.
I talked to Johnny and
you did?
Oh yeah, because I was having all the guys like Eddie in them, and Alex, like the big dude Alex. I would always like tell him like, all right, you're coming on top, and like instantly I'll just do it. So I'm getting more comfortable with it. But Johnny was like, in a competition, he goes, fight for your life to stay on top. But
like telling you to ease up?
No,
fighting for your life?
No. Oh. No, in the competition, like go as hard as you can.
Well, that's what that girl did to Lindsay this past weekend.
Yeah.
She like the coach told her to. It was so evil. So Lindsay was at the
Don't
bottom.
Be silly, coach. The auctioneer.
So. Oh my god. Lindsay was on the bottom, and she was mounted on top of her.
The girl was mounted on Lindsay, yeah.
And like the girl couldn't really get anything to submit her. And Lindsay's like still fighting, so she's like hot, out of breath, everything.
Oh,
and the coach tells her like to take her gi. So like
the lapels.
Gi, it's like people that don't know jiu-jitsu. It's like you wear this coat, this white coat, and you take the sides of it out, and she's laying on top of her,
and just like drapes curtains over her.
the gi top over her.
Yeah.
To where she like
you're just breathing hot air.
Sack.
Yeah.
She can't breathe. Yeah. I was like, oh, that should be illegal. Why are they doing that? And I'm like, I just want to go there and like pull her out from underneath her.
Yeah.
But you have to. I think that's why a lot of people they start jiu-jitsu, then they like it, because it's like mentally challenging. You have to overcome a lot of things. Yeah. That otherwise you would never be in that situation, like, or very rarely that you would have to do that.
Yeah. So now I'm like trying to reset my mindset to like, it's okay if I can't breathe for 30 seconds.
That's when Aubrey quit that one day too.
When?
She couldn't breathe. And she has asthma. So she's like, my asthma. Yeah. I'm like, no, it's just because you're hot. You have all this protective gear on. Yeah. That's like strapped to her so that she doesn't get hurt. And a lot of the kids are like, I can't breathe. And even when we were in Denver for jiu-jitsu tournament, for Tap Out Cancer, a lot of the kids, they would stop and they're like, I see them breathing. They can breathe, but it feels like you can't breathe. And they're like,
your chest gets heavy.
I can't breathe. And the parents and coaches like, just like lay down on the floor, put your head over your hands over your head. And you have to mentally like overcome that, because if not, you can spiral yourself into a panic attack.
And have good cardio too. That helps.
I have none.
So that was it. Make sure you we'll have to edit that at the end.
Yeah.
Long pause.
So adjust your mindset. Do some work with yourself. Dig a little deeper on what's holding you back, and evaluate your friendships and who you're around and how they're affecting you, good or bad.
So thank you very much for watching. or listening, however you're getting our content. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe, and we appreciate y'all.
Bye.